Most B2B SaaS brands that try meta ads get average results, and then they either stop or they keep it running with a low budget and low expectations. And I hear the same thing every time. Gonzalo, meta just doesn't work for B2B. And I would push back on that. Because after working with a bunch of B2B SaaS brands on Meta, what I kept seeing is that their results were average, yes, but mainly because their approach was average. And this got me wondering why. And ultimately, I got to the conclusion that the reason why the results were average was simply because they were treating Meta like it was LinkedIn, the same playbook, when in reality, these are fundamentally different platforms. And the way you approach them needs to be different as well. So when we look at the left table here, on LinkedIn, you would split the budget evenly across different ads. Similar creatives can coexist because ultimately you're trying to collect as many data from each one of them so that you can fine tune from there. And when you know that a concept is working, your goal is to tweak it to squeeze out incremental improvements over time. But now on Meta, it's not necessarily the same game. On Meta, 2-3 ads get the bulk of the spend. The algorithm naturally picks early winners, and not necessarily because they are the top performing ones, but that's a different conversation, and puts more budget behind them. And unlike LinkedIn, similar creatives don't exist as much. And that's because they end up competing for the same segment of your audience and splitting the signals between them. And here's why it happens. Let's say you're targeting a broad audience, marketers and sales 25 to 55. Let's imagine your messaging is something like, stop juggling 5 different tools. There's a better way. You launch 3 creatives, all touching on that same angle, all speaking to marketers, all pretty similar. Those 3 creatives won't be reaching 3 times as many marketers. They're actually going after the same segment of your audience, the same people, and simply dividing the signals that would prove any of those ads would work. Here's what I mean by that. Some people would convert on ad 1, other folks on ad 2, other folks on ad 3, when in reality, you could have all those same people converting on one ad, which means it would add much more signals. Now, every concept has a ceiling, naturally, and at some point, it will plateau and will naturally start to decline. But that's when you start replacing the creatives, but you don't touch the angles or the persona because those are working. So you keep the same idea, but you just find different ways of expressing it. And by the way, these aren't small tactical differences. They should change how you brief your design team and how you think about refreshes and even what good results look like on Meta. So if you're still applying the LinkedIn playbook to Meta, I must be honest, you're not really experimenting it with a new channel. You're just expecting to get LinkedIn results somewhere else.